I call today's Public Infrastructure and Utilities Committee meeting to order. It is Wednesday, June 26th at 3:39 p.m. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Vollmer.
Present.
Alderwoman Keys.
Present, but I can't see anything.
Okay, one moment. Did you want me to finish calling the roll, Chairwoman?
Yes, ma'am.
Alderwoman Velazquez.
Present. Also can't see anything. The screen is like a little box.
Alderman Browning.
Present.
Chair Schweitzer.
Present.
We have 5 present. We have a quorum.
Thank you. And with that, we will move on to approval of the minutes. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of Wednesday, June 18th, 2024.
So moved.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved by the alderman from the 5th, seconded by the alderman from the 9th. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Vollmer.
Aye.
Alderwoman Keys.
Aye.
Alderwoman Velazquez.
Aye.
Alderman Browning.
Aye.
Chair Schweitzer.
Aye.
We have 5 aye votes.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, did we have Don Walters over in the presenter side? We're going to move to committee discussions and take up item number 1.
Okay, I'm gonna move him over.
Dawn.
Yes, she's there.
I am here.
Wonderful. I'm going to swear you in and then give you a little introduction before you begin. We're looking forward to hearing your presentation. So first, can you raise your right hand and raise your hand, please? And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Walter, thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate today you'll be giving us a run through of the Project Sidewalk Initiative and what you're doing and how people watching this and how the Board of Aldermen can help. So I see the presentation is pulled up on our end, and I'll let you take it from here. Thank you for being here to us.
Thank you very much. My name is Dawn Walter. I am the Engagement Subcommittee Chair of the Community Mobility Committee, which is a resident advisory committee that serves the city of St. Louis. Project Sidewalk is a new initiative by the Community Mobility Committee. I was invited by Alderwoman Ann Schweitzer to present on the tools, so thank you very much for this opportunity. I will present for approximately 10 minutes, and then there'll be 20 minutes for Q&A, so please hold any questions that you may have until the end. Next slide. Next slide, please. There we go. Thank you. Okay, so Project Sidewalk is an online tool that allows users to label sidewalk infrastructure and identify accessibility barriers by virtually moving through city streets using Google Maps Street View images. Think of it as a walk audit, but done virtually online. As a city or neighborhood is audited, the research team, Project Sidewalk, which is compiled of primarily researchers from the University of Washington, but also the University of Illinois Chicago and a few others, compile the data to map out where deficiencies such as missing curb ramps, sidewalks raised by tree roots, and missing sidewalks are located within said neighborhood or city. Project Sidewalk relies on community engagement and crowdsourcing for data collection, as anyone with a computer or internet access can use the tool and complete some auditing. They have found that involving local residents to audit their neighborhood or city instead of a group of researchers allows residents to feel a stronger connection to their community. It also speeds up data collection because as you get more people to do it, more hands make work lighter, or whatever the saying is. And then it also gets people invested in pedestrian advocacy because they can see what the actual conditions are of the surrounding area. This tool has been used in 12 cities so far, such as Columbus, Ohio, Chicago, Illinois, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Next slide. So Project Sidewalk, the tool, has two parts to it. The first is an initial audit of a stretch of sidewalk using photos, like I said, from Google Street View. Auditors use different labels to identify the presence of amenities like curb ramps and crosswalks, or problems such as cracks, uneven surfaces, or height differences. They also rate these problems and amenities on a scale of 1 to 5 in terms of passability, 1 being very passable, 5 being not passable at all. Auditors are asked to rate the problems as if a wheelchair user is using the sidewalk to ensure that the data collected is done so through an accessible lens. The second part is a more experienced user or a member of the research team will double check the labels to make sure that they are accurate and change them if any such changes are needed, especially with the passability rating. If a member of the board or anyone attending is interested in learning specifically how the tool works, I can share a training video with anyone. Next slide. The primary benefit of Project Sidewalk, and really why the Community Mobility Committee is launching this initiative, is that Project Sidewalk provides a holistic understanding of the existing barriers. Instead of relying on a system of residents' requests to choose improvement areas like what we have in St. Louis through the CSB request or the 50/50 sidewalk program, this provides decision makers such as yourselves a complete picture of the community or area to better prioritize infrastructure improvements. This benefit is brought to life through data visualization as shown on the map, by this map on the slide. This is a map of Ward 3 that was created when the neighborhood was about 85% audited. As you can see with the legend, the colors on the map correspond to the different labels in Project Sidewalk systems, such as obstacles, surface problems, and missing sidewalks. This map could be used to determine what areas need improvements the most based on public use. On this map, schools are actually represented by the purple building labels, the little bit larger labels. As you can see, there are some areas by schools that generally need a lot of investment. Once the entire city is audited, this type of map could be pulled for any section of the city and be layered to show sidewalk conditions around public amenities such as libraries, transit stops, medical offices, or grocery stores. Not shown on this map, but something that could also be done is the problem ratings. A map that highlights the greatest severe problems could be created to highlight what areas or sections need the most attention, immediate attention. For example, this same map could be created, but only show the barriers that are deemed a 5 or not passable at all, since they are the most severe and would likely need to be addressed first. Next slide. The really wonderful thing about Project Sidewalk is that all data generated through the tool is open source, or in other words, open to the public. Anyone, anytime can go to Project Sidewalk's website and download the data as a CSV or shapefile. The hope is that the city of St. Louis will use the data to support planning, construction, and implementation, but it is great to know that this data could be used by local organizations such as TrailNet. The data is open source because of Project Sidewalk's funding source, a grant from the National Institute of Health. No data is sold for profit or revenue. Next slide, please.
I was trying to zoom in since people were saying they couldn't see the screen. One moment. My apologies.
Thank you so much. And just to clarify, on the last slide, that was a screenshot from the website. So if you go to the Project Sidewalk website, you'll be able to see what that was and zoom in as needed. So I just wanted to take a quick moment and talk about frequently asked questions that the project sidewalk research team runs into, as this is probably questions that may come up today during our discussion. As I've mentioned previously, the images used to audit the streets are done through Google Street View, which may prompt people to think, well, how recent are the images? Are they valid? This varies from city to city, but since St. Louis is an urban area, most of the imagery is new. About 80% is from 2021 to 2023. So most of it is pretty up to date in terms of what the built environment looks like. How long does it take to conduct an audit? 1 mile takes about 45 to 55 minutes, which may seem like a lot, but if anyone has ever done a physical walk audit, completing 1 mile can take a lot more time. So this speeds up the process and allows cities and residents to collect data much quicker. And how many people can get involved? As many people as they are interested. This is a tool, like I said, that is online, so anyone with a computer and internet access can use it. The CMC has been providing some trainings for people to learn how to use the tool better, but you absolutely do not need to go through said training in order to participate. Project Sidewalk also has like a tutorial that you can go through yourself to learn how to use the tool. So you're not required to attend in order to sign up. Next slide. Okay, so no one system is perfect. And I just want to cover what are the limitations of Project Sidewalk to be very transparent. A common accessibility barrier on sidewalks is a severe slope due to a tree root pushing up a sidewalk panel. While Project Sidewalk can note where height differences exist, it's not possible using the tool to measure the slope to understand if it needs to be replaced under ADA or simply monitored to make sure that it does not increase in the future. Another limitation is that because the system uses Google Street View images, a sidewalk may be blocked by a large vehicle or other items such as a moving pod. Having spent a few hours on Project Sidewalk myself, I can say most of the time you can move up or down a street and see around the obstacle, but not always. And then, as I mentioned before, some of the Google Street images may be outdated. 80% of the images is from 2021 to 2023. That leaves about 20% of the city where images could be quite older. Recently, I audited a street in Ward 3 that used images from 2015. Next slide. So as the slide said, the CMC has hosted 5 trainings for people to learn how to use the tool. We are in talks of scheduling a training for TrailNet volunteers. We are able to schedule trainings for any organization or groups that would be interested in learning more. And the CMC has reached out to its partner organizations such as Paraquad, STL Urbanus, and Transform 314 to invite them to join this effort. We have completed the audit of Ward 3. Ward 7 and 12 are now open for auditing. We will be opening up the wards over time to make sure that the data we collect is usable quickly instead of just having random data points throughout the city that are not truly useful until the audit is complete. We will be opening up 1 North Ward and 1 South Ward at a time, with the areas that have experienced most investment, like downtown, to be opened last. If you're worried that your ward has not been opened yet, know that the goal is to have the entire city audited by the end of the year, so all areas will be seen to shortly. And this is a collective effort. The more people we have using Project Sidewalk, the sooner the audit will be completed and the data available to the city. As I mentioned above, we are able to schedule additional trainings with Project Sidewalk. So please feel free to reach out to the CMC if you know of a group that might be interested in participating. Next slide. And the CMC is devoted to auditing the entire city. We hope that the city will commit to this project and devise ways to use this data. CMC members and attendees have been discussing what we'd like to see the data from Project Sidewalk be used for, which I've included on this slide. We want this data to primarily inform funding and prioritization to ensure that enough funding is going to sidewalks where they are needed most. We also believe that this data can be used as a metric to work towards ADA compliancy. I know I won't shock anyone to say that the city of St. Louis is not compliant, but this data paired with the ADA transition plan could work us towards that milestone. Finally, we believe that this program will allow us to evaluate current programs like the 50/50 sidewalk program. We'd be able to audit to understand if investments made through that program have led to more accessible neighborhoods or if it needs to be revamped in some way. Project Sidewalk has worked with numerous cities on devising ways to use this data, and I'd be happy to connect this committee with the project team if you wish to speak with them about other possibilities or have any questions that I am unable to answer today. Next slide. Once again, thank you very much to this committee, and I'm happy to answer as many questions as I am able to. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. It's so interesting to see the work that's done and how it's done. I'll go through members of the committee for questions. Alderman Vollmer,
No questions. Thank you very much for the presentation.
Alderwoman Keys,
Dawn, thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Chair, and members of the committee. But Dawn, thank you so much for being here today and giving us this information.
okay, thank you. Alderwoman Velasquez.
Great. I want to echo my thanks, Dawn. I'd say once you're considering your new wards, please count the sixth and ones to be considered. I know the constituents there, I'm sure would love to participate and love to figure out a way to share this more widely with my constituents. I guess the only question I had, and you sort of alluded to it, is what can you do more with this data, or like where you'd like to see it implemented. I guess, has there been any thought into how to use data like this in the current, I said, sort of city evaluation? Like infrastructure.
We presented on this tool at the last CMC meeting where members of the Board of Public Service, Streets Department, and the Office of the Disabled were present. And there were some discussion, but I think because it was the first meeting of like them learning about the tool, there was no commitment. And I have yet to hear of a commitment by the city of like what they would be interested in. So yes, there have been discussions, but no firm decisions.
Okay, great. That's all the questions I have. Thank you again for your presentation.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Vice Chair Browning.
Thank you. No questions. This is not the first time I've seen this presentation, but I'm so excited about Project Sidewalk. I think it's fantastic. What a great way for people to be able to do audits of our sidewalk from the comfort of their own home. And shout out to my legislative assistant, Caitlin Smith, who's on the leaderboard for doing a lot of work in it already. So just as an example of how easy it is to get involved, I love just seeing young people jump on it. And so far, they're doing a great job. Similarly to the alderwoman from the 6th, as soon as the 9th ward can be opened, I will be so excited. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Vice Chair Browning. The part that's interesting to me, there's a lot of it that's interesting to me, obviously, but the part that's really interesting is what do we do with the data and what comes next from it? You mentioned a few different things in the presentation, including prioritization of funds and the ADA transition plan and many different pieces like that. But you said also other cities have been doing this. Is it that they have mostly directed funding towards these specific areas, or how have you seen other cities use the data that they've collected?
So for example, Chicago, I mentioned Chicago, that was just one ward that had their neighborhood done, audited. So that ward, that alderman, that was used to then direct funding of how, I think it's similar, they have something similar to a ward capital fund. So they use that to direct the funding where it was needed. I think primarily in the past has been used to just inform funding, because what the Project Sidewalk research team can also do, I mentioned layering on top of like public amenities, but it could also layer on top of, and you could see where people who don't have cars live or people with lower incomes live. And so this could also be just an equity tool to ensure that the money is being spent to help those who don't have the resources or have less resources to be able to travel around via car. And so I think it is a tool that is primarily used to inform funding, but can inform it in a couple different ways depending on how the city of St. Louis would like to direct it.
I think that's one of the most exciting things about data collection now is it's not just a list of numbers on a page. You know, you can really collect data in a way that is interactive and can be layered and can inform a lot of other things. We're talking about our Complete Streets update and the policy updates there and directing funds and prioritization towards the high injury network, the bike networks, pedestrian networks, where people are, to your point, walking and taking public transportation, and all of those things together are much better ways to making decisions than how we normally do it now, which is CSB requests, which, as you rightly pointed out, really, if people aren't there reporting the sidewalks or aren't willing to pay for it, you know, what do you do? Obviously, this tool isn't going to be a policy change in and of itself, but I think it will help to inform future policy changes. Well, thank you. Is there anything else that you'd like to say? Any future training coming up? Any dates that you can share with us?
No dates coming up.
Alderwoman
Alderwoman.
Velasquez, you're recognized.
Oh, thank you. Just a quick question. Do you happen to know, or can you find out which ward in Chicago that was?
I can find that out quickly and I can get that information to the committee.
That'd be great. Thank you. Thank you, Madam.
Sure, go ahead, Ms. Walter. Did you want to say anything in closing?
No, we don't have any training set up at the moment because we just finished our most recent round. But if any trainings are added to the calendar, I will be sure to reach out and just let people know that they can join.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming and taking the time to present to us. I know this is an important tool and thing that people have talked about for a long time as having a sidewalk audit done. And so I appreciate the work that has been done to get it off the ground and keep it moving and do so much work already. That's really fascinating. I can't wait to open up the tool and explore a little bit. So thank you very much for coming and presenting to our group today.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, we will move to board bills for review. We have just one on the agenda today, and it's mine, so I'll turn it over to Vice Chair Browning.
Thank you. Alderwoman Schweitzer, you are recognized on Board Bill number 55.
Thank you, Vice Chair Browning, members of the committee. Board Bill 55 is my second stop sign bill of my tenure here at the Board of Aldermen. This bill has 3 different locations for stop signs, one of which has had over 7 accidents at that intersection in the last year. The ordinance we have on the books right now says that stop signs should be installed if there are as many as 5 accidents, so we're a little over that, and we're trying to rectify it now. Hoping to do more traffic calming at that intersection as well. Another of the intersections, same thing, many accidents, many resident complaints, a lot of concern about the visibility issues, people not being able to see while they're driving, so wanting a stop sign to be a 4-way stop there. And then another one is on the same, or very nearby, these are all in the Patch-Carondelet neighborhood area, Carondelet rather. This one is a location that is a highly frequented pedestrian route. There's a coffee shop on the corner. There's also someone who lives right at that corner whose property has been damaged so many times that their insurance claims have gone up multiple times with not having any traffic enforcement or calming at that intersection. So they were very eager to see this happen so that they could prove to their insurance company that they were doing everything possible to make the intersection safer, both for people and for their property. So that is this bill here today. I try not to do stop signs unless they're very needed, crucial, I would argue, to the neighborhood. And that's what these three are in this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman. We'll go through, well, first of all, do we have any public testimony on this?
No, we have none.
No, no one signed
No
up.
one.
Okay, we'll go through the committee to see if anyone has any questions. We'll start with Alderman Volmer.
Thank you. Now, what caught my ear was the first one you said there's been 7 accidents within 1 year.
Right.
I've been down here a long time, but I've had with 3 accidents in a 4-month period where they will go out and just put the stop sign up without even an ordinance. I have no problem supporting any stop sign ordinance whatsoever. I'm just surprised that they haven't gone out. I thought there was an emergency status where
Yeah,
they
so
can
we
do
do
that.
have an ordinance. So Vice Chair Browning was asking me about this right before the meeting started, but there is an ordinance in place in St. Louis where there are a few different ways people can do stop signs. One, they're supposed to do it if there's of accidents.
When it's that dangerous, typically they like to
right.
get them up because
Right.
this process takes so long. And I thought that was the purpose of that. So, no, I support it wholeheartedly. I would just rather stay that up. If it's that dangerous,
Right.
then something should be done right away. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alderwoman Keys.
No, I don't have any questions. I trust that Alderwoman Schweitzer is doing what is in the best interest of the people who live in her ward.
Thank you. I trust that as well. Alderwoman Velasquez.
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. And I just have one question. Which ordinance, do you have the ordinance number that has those emergency provisions in it?
Let's see. I don't have the ordinance number, but I will certainly get it to you before the end of the meeting.
Yes, so, okay, I'm sure we'll get that. But I appreciate that. Yeah, the number of accidents that have happened at this site certainly warrants some traffic control measures. So thank you for looking out for your residents and look forward to supporting this today. With that, I will recognize you to close.
Thank you, Vice Chair Browning. I appreciate the comments from the committee, and I would appreciate your due pass recommendation today.
Thank you. I will entertain a due pass recommendation for Board Bill number 55.
So moved.
Second,
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 5th, seconded by the Alderwoman from the 6th. Do I hear a call for previous roll?
Previous roll. Didn't know I could do both.
Sure can. Hearing no objection, Board Bill 55 has passed out of committee with a due pass recommendation.
Thank you. Okay, thank you all. Thank you for that. I appreciate that chairmanship, Vice Chair Browning. We have any written testimony?
We have none.
Any announcements? Okay, all members are present today. And I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Previous roll.
It's been moved and seconded. There's been a call for previous roll. We are hearing an objection to previous. No objection. We are adjourned.